Good morning, this is Angel bringing you another video on my high desert garden. This is gonna be on a video tour for the month of November. Today's date is November 10th, 2020 and the frost is already here. Freezing temperatures dropping all the way to 27 Fahrenheit. But as you can see, that did not put any damage to my lettuce, to my romaine lettuce, not whatsoever. Because romaine lettuce is a cold hardy plant. It's gonna get to a point where it is gonna give up on me. But right now we already had two very freezing evenings, two very freezing nights and mornings. This morning dropped all the way to 27 Fahrenheit, but that did not cause any damage to my romaine lettuce, as you can see. But unfortunately, it did cause damage to a 90% of the plants that I'm growing throughout the yard. And I'm gonna bring you along with this journey, this video tour. I'm not gonna make it too long because there's not much to show. But stay tuned for this video tour for the month of November. One thing that I wanted to show you is that my rain barrels are already full completely, because we already had our first rain for this season. And I'm quite excited because I love to use rainwater on all my plants throughout the fall, winter, and the month of January and February. So look at this, I already harvested my first 3 drums of rainwater, and I'm quite excited about that. And that's one of the things that I love to share with you guys in my high desert garden. Look at these poor plants. They took a beating last night, but I'm not surprised. Just like I have been saying in the past, the second week of November is when we get our first hard freeze up here in the high desert, and this plant could not handle it. Once again, I'm not surprised. I was actually expecting for this to happen. Within the next week or so, all these leaves are gonna turn brown, and they will also start dropping to the ground one at a time. But it's fine, because all of that is gonna become fertilizer for next year. Because that's how I do it. I reuse every organic matter that I can around the house. I wanted to show you something real quick. Look at this. My nasturtium plants, they survived the hard freeze that we have had in the past couple of days, simply by just moving the pot under this awning that I have in the back. And as you can see, it's already almost the middle of November, and I still have my nasturtiums, and I have no doubt that this plant will remain here all the way to spring, hopefully. That way I get to enjoy my nasturtiums throughout the winter season. I also brought in the geraniums, and this plant that was planted within the geraniums, and I have no doubt that these plants are also going to survive the winter up here in Lancaster. I'm going to keep you updated the progress of these plants throughout my future videos that I'm going to be posting for you guys. this front side of my yard was not an exception. All of these flowers, they also took a beating, and as you can see, they're all leaning forward. Very soon they're gonna hit the ground, and they will end up in this pile right here, compost pile. It's a reality. Up here in the high desert, there's nothing you can do about it. You wish that you were living in the tropics, where you don't have to experience this transition every year, but that is the price that you take when you live up here in the high desert. As you can see, my garlic has already been covered up. There's really no need to do that, but I just did it this year. I'm gonna see if I can accelerate the progress of my garlic. That way I can get an early harvest and not wait until April or June before I can harvest it. Roses, as you can see, my roses, I trimmed them heavily, and my intention was for them to start putting out new roses during spring. But surprisingly enough, look at this, they all bloomed and started sending out so many flowers. I'm very, very surprised about that, but that's what happens when you experiment. I pruned them heavily, and look what happens. Brand new plant came back filled with new flowers. And this is where I have my row of carrots, rainbow carrots, and I have planted nasturtiums at the bottom of the raised bed. I don't really think that those nasturtiums are going to make it through winter, but we will see what happens. Look at that. Aren't those beautiful or what? They're also very, very sweet and tasty. I really recommend the purple carrots. I've been saving seed, like I've been showing you on previous videos, and this is the result right here. These little guys are so sweet and tasty. They do taste a little bit different than the traditional orange carrot. That's why I really, really recommend it. I always like to grow different varieties of anything, but that's just me. This is a second row of radishes that I'm trying to grow even during the freezing temperatures. And as you can see, the pretty much every every radish seed has sprouted, and they're already growing very slowly. I really don't expect for these radishes to grow really fast, but I have this empty raised bed, so why not? I'm gonna give it a shot. It's just an experiment. As I was mentioning, my roses, look at that. Just about 2-3 days ago, all of these flowers were very, very fresh, and it really made my garden look very beautiful. But now, because of the freeze, they're already starting to die. But I'm quite amazed of the results when you prune your plants heavily. They just come back, man. I'm very, very surprised at the results. I really was not expecting that. I really was not expecting for this plant to come back until spring next year. This is my row of actually my raised bed where I have all my the strawberries. Strawberries, they didn't do great this year. I don't know, maybe it's just not the right variety for this area, but they grew very small. So we'll see what happens next year. And I'm pretty sure that we'll also survive the winter. right next to my strawberry patch, I have this raised bed right here where I have most of my kale, my Swiss chard, and this is the raised bed that I've been showing you guys for the longest time. This is where I had originally where I had my corn. I emptied the raised bed, and now I'm growing all my cold hardy plants. And yes, temperature went all the way down to 27 Fahrenheit, and these kale plants, they all made it, not a problem. This morning they had a lot of frost built on the top of the leaves. They were all droopy, but look at this. As soon as the sun comes up, they recover. The same thing with the Swiss chard. They took the first two hard freezing nights that we've been having. I wish I could say the same for the flowers, the zinnias, but you know, you don't expect for these guys to survive. This is a big time summer plant, but as you can see, they're done for this year. But I am going to be saving all these flowers for next season. And as you can see, all the kale is nice and healthy. I've been giving lots of kale away to my neighbors, but they just cannot keep up with the production. And I don't eat that much kale. Unless I juice it and mix it with some sweets, because I don't like the taste of it. As you can see, the rest of the plants are pretty much dead. The rose bush that I had here, I was forced to take it down because it was causing a lot of damage to this lattice structure. It was actually breaking it in pieces, so I had to get rid of this rose bush that I had here, that I showed on my April garden tour in 2020. You guys can check it out. It was beautiful, but unfortunately I had to get rid of it. So you can see the zinnias, they took a beating. I'm not surprised, but you know you can save those flowers, those seeds for next year. I have not bought any zinnia seeds for the past 4 years. I just keep collecting the seed every year, and I just reuse it, replant it all over the house. Look at this one. This one took a beating. So sorry for them, but something that you expect every year. Let me show you what I have on the other side. When I first moved into this area, this high desert area, every time I saw these images, it would break my heart to see all these plants just so droopy, and all the plants and all the fruit just hitting the ground like this right here. It's sad, but you get used to it. It's just a part of nature. You really can't stop it. I enjoy the 6 growing months of the year that God allows me to, and that's just enough for me. I have no complaints whatsoever. I'm gonna have to start fresh again next year. Not a problem. Now this is a sad picture right here. All of these dead tomato plants with lots of tomatoes just resting on top of the leaves, dead leaves. But once again, I'm not complaining. That is part of life up here in the high desert. As you can see, a lot of my raised beds have already been cleaned up, already kind of sort of tilled the soil. I don't really go really deep because you don't want to disturb the microorganisms that are living within the soil. So I just kind of clean the surface a little bit, pick up all the dead plants, leaving the root in place. You do not want to remove the root. Just cut it at the base and just leave the root to rot. So let me see what else I have. I have 5 more minutes of recording. And as I have been mentioning in the past, a lot of my dead plants, they all end up at the bottom of the my fruit trees, because that becomes the fertilizer for my next growing season. And let me show you what else I have. Grapes, leaves, they all took a beating. As you can see, this is the raised bed where I had all my my shaded structure. I removed it. You don't want to leave it there because it's gonna get damaged with the weather. So just remove it, store it inside your shed or garage, wherever you can. Just fold it, and then you can reuse it again next year. There's no point on keep buying the same materials year after year when you can recycle and reuse your stuff. This little plant right here, I still don't know what it is. I want to think it's an apple tree, but I'm letting it grow as if it was a grapevine. As you can see, that is gonna be the it's an experiment. So far, I really hope I can see some fruit someday. If you guys can recognize the leaf and tell me what kind of tree I'm growing here, I don't know what it is. It just came up from my compost pile that I once had in this area. I want to think it's an apple tree, but I may be wrong. These are all my dead pepper plants. All the tomatoes that I had in this raised bed have already been removed. As you can see, I don't remove the root because that becomes a fertilizer for next year. These guys, I know for a fact that they will survive the cold winter, because they have in the past. And let me see what else. More tomatoes have been removed. I kind of built this structure right here to protect three trees that were given to me. This is the it's not an apricot. What is this tree? I don't remember. But oh, loquat. That right there is a tiny little loquat tree. I have two more that are much larger, and I kind of built this structure hoping to protect them from the freezing cold winds that sometimes develop up here in the high desert. This water right here was frozen this morning. This was nothing but ice, so you can imagine how cold it gets up here. Chipilline plants, they're done. Totally gone. But I am gonna be able to collect some seed. As you can see, those are seed pods, and I'm gonna reuse that seed for next year, because it's very hard to find a chipilline seed anywhere. So for the first time ever in my life, I'm gonna be able to harvest my own seed from my backyard. As you can see, chipilline plant is a tropical plant. This guy will not tolerate cold weather whatsoever. Thank you guys for watching. This is all I have for you guys today. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, and I'm gonna be posting at least one video every month for the next coming months, since there's not much to show. But if you have any questions, any comments, any suggestions, please drop them in the comment section below. And I really hope you like my videos. This is kind of like my journal that I have every year. I mean, it's not really for profit or anything, but if you guys subscribe to my channel, I always like to see those thumbs ups and those likes. Really motivates me to keep uploading videos of this nature. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, and I will see you on the next one. Take care now, and God bless. Bye bye now.